What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we have episode 30 of the Vikings franchise, and as you can see, we're in week 8. We just came off of that big win against the Seahawks last episode, and we're sitting at 5-2, and I wanted to make sure I stopped here because I feel like there might be some trades I want to do before the trade deadline, and I wanted us to take a peek at the rest of the league and just see where the stats are, see where the standings are currently sitting. And then we can go ahead to week 9 and start seeing some more stuff like the yearly awards. And maybe we'll even get to another game yet. I'm pretty sure we'll have time for a game in this video as well. I don't think I have that much to talk about. I'm still waiting on some of the finer details to be done with the draft class. So what I think I'm going to do is we're going to end up doing maybe like a solo video just for deep diving the prospects. Or maybe, mix it in with 1 or 2 videos later on, towards the offseason. But we have plenty of time left. We're only in week 8. Just wanted to put that out there because I know I haven't really talked about that much yet. But since I'm doing it different this time, it's a little bit more work. And I'm still trying to figure out exactly how I want to do it. I'm still thinking about it. So that's that. Let's start off with our own team here, the Vikings, and see how we have stacked up stats-wise through 7 games. Taylor Hopkins is off to a much better start this year than he was last year. 20 touchdowns to only 5 interceptions, 2,375 yards passing, 74% completion. That's a big change from last year for him. We have taken 28 sacks, which I feel like is still a lot, but it seems like it hasn't been as frequent as last year, where we'll have games that we give up 5-6, but then we'll have games where we don't give up many at all. So I'm happy to see things are going all in the right direction there. Even though Madison hasn't had the best season, he isn't really having a bad year either. I wish we had more rushing yards, but he's averaging almost 4 yards a carry. He only has 1 touchdown, which is something I'm really not a fan of. Glover is having a much more productive year, 39 carries, 171 yards, and 1 touchdown. I would like to see him get the ball more. And then, of course, our new addition, Oscar Pitts, who we just traded for last week. He hasn't had much to do with us yet. He only had, I think, 3 or 4 carries last week, and you can see he didn't really touch the ball at all in Houston, like ever. So I'm happy that we have him. I feel like these 3 guys are really going to help us create a great running game, and we will get there eventually. I want to get it to where we're getting a 100-yard rusher like every game. That's my end goal. Justin Jefferson is blowing everybody out of the water this year. 41 catches, 737 yards, and 9 touchdowns already. We're only 7 games in. He has been phenomenal. Timmy Peoples as well. It looks like he's having a bad season compared to Jefferson's, but he's actually having a really good season. 437 yards, 5 touchdowns. Irv Smith and KJ Osborne are both right around the same. Smith is getting more targets but less yardage, whereas Osborne is doing more with his catches, and he has 2 touchdowns as opposed to Smith having 0. Wilcox is getting a little bit more involved as well, which I like to see. Danielle Hunter is at 17 sacks already. This is insane. This man is unstoppable. 17 sacks, and we're barely at the halfway point. We're not even at the halfway point. He might break his record that he just set a year ago at this pace. And it's such a severe drop-off. It's not even, it's laughable. 2 sacks for Jefferson, 2 for Coleman, 1.5 for Ware, and then a few guys here with 1 and some with half a sack. Like, that's insane. Mike Hughes, on the other hand, has been having an incredible season as well. 6 interceptions alone for him. We saw him get 2 last game against the Seahawks. Nobody else has really had much to add to our secondary when it comes to turnovers, but Mike Hughes has been doing enough for almost the whole team. Amazing season for him. And remember, he got that X factor at the end of last season, and it's obvious that it's changed the course of his career right now because he was not doing this last year at all for us. Looking at the entire league, you can see that Hopkins is actually leading the league in passing yards right now and passing touchdowns, and is not in the top 5 or 6 for interceptions, which is something I like to see. Let's see where he is interception wise. Okay, so he's actually pretty far down the list. Patrick Mahomes is not far behind him, less than half of his interceptions, which is got to be awesome. Jordan Love also not too far behind yards wise, but 9 interceptions already and only 12 touchdowns. Same for Jalen Hurts. Tua is actually having a pretty good year. Last year we saw him having a lot of interceptions. This year he only has 2 so far. Joshua Clifton, the rookie quarterback for Atlanta, 11 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. And Hunter Patton, who was the rookie of the year last year, 13 interceptions already, and we are only in week 7. That is insane. They have a new system and a new coach this year. I'm pretty sure, Eric Bieniemy. I made him the coach of the Saints, and I put in, I think I did Casey's offense. Apparently he doesn't like it. We might have to look at that. Daniel Matias, the rookie quarterback, the other high-end rookie quarterback that was drafted by the Lions that I traded to the Colts because it was just stupid that they had 2 quarterbacks back-to-back. He's having a pretty good season as well. 1,800 yards, 17 touchdowns, only 6 interceptions. Rushing-wise, it does not surprise me to see this man at the top of the list. Derrick Henry, 911 yards through 7 games and 10 touchdowns, averaging 6 yards a carry. That's pretty impressive. Ezekiel Elliott not too far behind at 805. Najee Harris, 707. Jonathan Taylor, Nick Chubb, McCaffrey, Mixon, the people we expect to see. Dalvin Cook here as well. Nobody that's really standing out. None of the younger backs that have been getting chances to play. Mecole Hardman is actually leading the entire league in receiving yards with 816 already. He has 7 touchdowns as well on 47 catches. Justin Jefferson coming in second place with the stats we went over before. Michael Pittman Jr., the Green Bay Packers receiver, he's having a pretty good season. Not many touchdowns, but yardage-wise and catching, he's tops of the list. Amari Cooper, Mike Evans, N'Keal Harry, Tyreek Hill, Kenny Golladay. Again, all of the players you expect to see if this was like 2022. We're not seeing any of the new guys yet, which is surprising. We're just waiting for some of these older guys to get old and go home, retire. Tremaine Edmonds is leading the league in tackles with 61, but look who is right behind him. Jeremy Chin with 60 so far, and 10 tackles for loss. Danielle Hunter is winning the sack race by almost 10 full sacks to Aaron Donald, who is now a Baltimore Raven. Mike Hughes is leading the league in interceptions. Christian Fulton, the closest to him, of the Tennessee Titans. Looking at the team stats, we are currently sitting at 3rd overall for offensive production, which I'm really surprised by that. I felt that there was some games there where we really let things slip and, didn't have as much success as I thought we did. But apparently I need to stop being so hard on the team. And poor Taylor Hopkins. We're also top 5 in defense, sitting at 4 right now. And we're second in rushing yards allowed, next to only the Cincinnati Bengals. We're also leading the league in total turnovers with 15, 5 fumbles, and 10 interceptions, which is really nice to see. That's something I felt like we didn't do a lot of last year. We had some fumbles, but it seemed like we really couldn't generate a lot of interceptions, and we couldn't really generate a lot of, big plays on defense, aside from just getting sacks and forcing punts. So it's really nice to see that, through almost the halfway point, we're leading the league by, it looks like about 4, only by 2. But still, we're at tops of the league, we're leading the league, I'm happy with it. One area I really would like us to get better in is our 3rd down percentage. We're only at 51% right now, and it is an area where I have been critical of us and some of the decisions that are made by Taylor Hopkins. It's not that we're doing really bad. We're not in the bottom half of the league. I mean, the worst is the Raiders at 35. That's crazy. But you can see the Seahawks are up at 63%, and that's actually probably pushed down a lot due to what we did to them this past week. We're also we also lead the league in most 3rd down attempts, which is another thing. I mentioned this a couple of videos ago, maybe it was last video, that we really need to start being able to move the chains on 2nd down, to not put ourselves in so many 3rd down positions. As you can see, we are leading the league by a handful in just 3rd down attempts alone, and we are only halfway down the list when it comes to 3rd down attempt percentage. So we're leaving a lot of opportunities out there, and we're putting ourselves in some rough spots a lot of the time. This is something that really grinds my gears as well, the red zone efficiency. This is the bottom of the list, and we are right there at the bottom, sitting at 6th overall. So 6th worst in the entire league at red zone efficiency. I hate that is a situation. I feel that we should be tops of the list. We have some great running backs, we have excellent receivers and some good tight ends and a great line. There's no reason that we should be this bad in terms of the whole league when it comes to scoring when we're inside the 20. And look at this. This is field goals too. So we're not even getting field goals. We're just not scoring, which is horrible. The one good thing is we're also 50% in points allowed when it comes to red zone efficiency, which is good. We're bottom half of the league where our defense is playing very well. We just need to be better on offense. Another huge thing to look at, and this might be, actually, I'm just going to leave this one because honestly, even with this one, we're the least penalized team, but now even going back to the efficiency in the red zone, since we actually play our games, there's no telling how different these stats would look for all the teams if all the games were actually streamed the way I play them, with the CPU versus CPU. So for all I know, we might not be as bad off when it comes to that, but we're not seeing that. We have to go with what's given to us, and in terms of the rest of the league, we're bottom parts of the league when it comes to some things. Penalties, no. We're the least penalized team by a big margin so far. Going through the injuries here, I wanted to point out a couple that are really big. Cyril Baldwin of the Cleveland Browns, who was a rookie drafted this year, is already out for 20 weeks with a fractured kneecap. That is a huge injury. Hopefully he comes back the same as he left, but what a way to end your rookie season. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have a couple of injuries. One to, Pro Bowl edge rusher Shaquille Barrett. Complete PCL tear, 34-week injury. Of course, he is on the IR. Interesting story about this situation is that Shaquille Barrett is actually up for a contract this year. And word out of Tampa is that they are not going to offer him a contract now, considering the injury, his age of 31 right now, and some of the other pieces they have on this team. So this is going to be, we've seen the last of Shaquille Barrett with the Buccaneers. The Los Angeles Chargers are really hurting right now. Austin Eckler out for 3 weeks with an abdominal tear. But even bigger news is Justin Herbert, all-star quarterback, is out for 6 right now with a broken collarbone. Saquon Barkley out for 4 weeks with a partial ACL tear. He could have been out a couple of weeks longer and I didn't catch it. But, this is a tough time for Barkley. At this point, the Giants have been doing very bad throughout the course of this franchise. And another injury, it makes you wonder how long does it pay for New York to keep paying him? Not to say that he's not an incredible running back, because he is, but his availability is always limited because of his injury history, and it's showing here again in this season. He's 27. The team is nowhere near contending. You'd almost wonder if this might be a time where the Giants could move on from Barkley and maybe get something in return to help this team rebuild in the right direction. Cam Akers is out for the Los Angeles Rams, which means the rookie running back Sharif Norris is getting all of the snaps right now. Now on to the current standings. As you can see, the Ravens are the only team left that is undefeated at 6-0. Seahawks are 5-1 after the loss to us last week. The Chiefs 6-1, 49ers 5-1, and then we are the best 5-2 team out there, so we're at the 5th overall rank. Once a couple of these teams take their second loss, and if we can keep winning, we might end up, jumping over some of these teams, especially the Seahawks with our tiebreaker. Apparently, I didn't pay attention enough to the Giants this year because they're actually 4-2 right now. I wonder how long Barkley's been hurt. If I swear, if I go back and find out these guys have won because Barkley has been injured, I'm trading this guy away immediately, as stupid as that sounds. The Rams have not won a game still. They are 0-6, the only team left without a win. The Raiders, of course, are not far behind, or not far ahead with only 1 win. Patriots, Bills, Saints, Browns, Packers. A lot of teams that you don't normally see down here at the bottom of the rankings, but, a lot of these teams had a lot of veterans on them, and as those veterans move on and retire, and if they don't replace guys enough, this is what happens, and it looks like they're starting to feel that a little bit. And you see some of these other teams that we maybe don't expect to be up here all the time are up here, like the Colts, the Giants, Panthers, the Dolphins. So, very interesting dynamic we've got so far here in our series. Now that we are done doing our little bit of a catch-up through the league, I want to take a look and see if there's any trades that I want to do yet before we get to week 9 and the trades are shut off for the trade deadline. My first order of business is to move on from Garrett Bradbury. He is up for a contract this year. I don't think we are going to re-sign him. He had the offseason situation where he got worse because of a lazy offseason. So instead of being an 81, he's now a 79 with the boosts. And last game, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but I actually started Michael Mahone at center instead of Bradbury, and he played rather well. Yes, we did have some pressure up the middle, but overall, he played rather well, and I don't think it'll be too far of a drop-off for us to go from Bradbury to Mahone if we can get a return on Bradbury now, instead of just letting him fall to free agency when there's plenty of teams that need a center and can give us some draft capital or something to, take him on. The first thing we need to do is find a team that needs a center, and then also find something that I want to get from that team. And then once I do that, I will remove my profile from that team and then make a trade with them. So it looks like the Bears need a center, but I will not trade with the Bears. The Bengals need a center, but they have a young center there in Henry Sanderson. And I'm not sure if it would make sense to trade a veteran there instead of letting Sanderson grow. The next team that we could look at would be the Cardinals. Scott Quessenberry is the only guy here. They do have Clay Mason, but he's only a 68. Not to say that he's that much worse than the Bengals center, but the Bengals center is at least a 72. He's 4 overall higher. So this might be something we need to look at. So the Cardinals is a team that we'll come back to. Again, same situation as the Bengals. The Dolphins have Chase Stewart. They drafted him. He is a hidden dev. So I'm definitely not going to be trading with them at this point. It would just stunt his growth, and in a real life situation, they would not be interested in Bradbury, especially if it came down to losing draft capital. The Eagles, on the other hand, definitely need a center. They're dealing with Lamont Gaillard, who is a 70 overall. Gaillard. I don't know if I said his name right, but either way, they are actually contending right now. If I'm not mistaken, they were towards the top part of our list. I'll check that again to make sure I'm not mistaken. But moving him to a team like the Eagles who need a center and, maybe trying to push for a playoff spot might be the best option. So we'll definitely come back to the Eagles. San Francisco is another team that we could consider. Considering Alex Mack is just an absolute legend of the NFL, I feel like it might not be realistic to move him, to move Bradbury over there. It's Alex Mack, for crying out loud. This guy's been around forever. Surprised he is still around. The Giants themselves, who are 4-2, they need a center. And honestly, from the looks of it, it might be their only missing piece. They have 2 players at left guard. One of them might be able to slide out to play right tackle. And then if Bradbury came in to play center, their line would be significantly better. That is something really interesting. We're going to definitely come back to the Giants. Okay, the Jets don't even have a center. If you want to call Armstrong a center, you can, but he's a 61 overall. Wow, I didn't even realize that. That might be my mistake. If there's even a center to be had anyway. I wonder if somebody's hurt. That's got to be, because I went through these teams. There must be just somebody hurt there. The Rams are a team that need a center, but in the spirit of realism, I don't think I'm going to be trading him to the Rams. They're 0-6. Bradbury is 29. If he's going to go anywhere, he should go to a team that at least has something going for him. That's why I thought maybe the Eagles would be a good fit, or the Giants, but definitely not the Rams. They haven't even won a game yet. The last team to consider would be the Titans. Ted Karras here is 31. He's a 70 overall. They do definitely need help in other areas of the line, but they don't have that bad of a line. A center addition here would be probably pretty ideal for them, especially considering Derrick Henry is already having a good season. It might really push them over the top to have an extra center. Okay, so I went and took a look at the teams again just to make sure I wasn't going crazy. After looking at the teams that we were considering dealing with here for a trade, I ended up limiting the Cardinals because they are below 500. Every other team is above 500 and has a decent O-line, just is missing a piece or two that Bradbury could, really plug. It makes sense for a team to want to do that. So we'll start here with the Eagles, move on to the Giants, and then we will look at the Titans to see which team might be best for us to trade with. And at the end of the day, maybe it's just for draft capital, but I do want to see if there's any players that I want to bring in instead of Bradbury that maybe the Eagles aren't looking to re-sign. Okay, after looking at the teams, I decided that I think the Eagles are going to be the best team to trade with. Based off of our own preference, their positioning right as of right now between the rest of the teams, their needs at the position, they have like an entire line except the center, so this would really fill a lot of holes for them. They also have the best cap situation and have a lot of veterans that have already re-signed with the team, so To me, this makes the most sense. So I want to start off at a 4th round pick. Actually, I'd sort of like to start at a 2nd round pick. Right now we have a pick in every round. It would be nice to have another 2nd. But I don't know what else we could give up to secure that 2nd. I don't really have anybody that I would want to trade away at this point. I think that's pretty much the last guy I'm going to trade away. We have 2 5ths. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to offer them our later 5th round pick and Garrett Bradbury to get their 2nd round pick. I've already removed my profile from the team. They do. Oh boy. Awesome. Okay. There we go. And just to prove to you guys, I'm not editing this video. Look at this. Going straight to it. Boom, 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 boom. And no Eagles. No Eagles at all. I'm not messing around with this. I'm not cheating the system. Now what I'm going to do is I want to go and search. I would like to bring another center in, but one that's not, you know, necessarily needed by a team. You know what? I should have done that. I should have tried to get a center from them. Now they have 3. We could bring in Lamont. We could bring in the guy he's replacing, really, to just be our backup. You know. Yeah, why don't we do that? Let's try to bring... Oh, he's not a scheme fit, though. And I don't want to take him because they just drafted him. No, actually, he might be a good option for us. They're really stacked. Look at this. But they don't have a right guard, so one of those guys is going to end up moving over, and probably the other one could play right tackle. Okay, so there was nobody in on any team for centers. Okay, so I ended up signing Billy Price out of free agency, who's 71 overall. He fits our scheme. He's a veteran, and it's just somebody to fill the spot left by Bradbury in case Mahone goes down. And now, you know, Michael Mahone is going to be our starting center moving forward. I'm excited about this. And we got an excellent draft pick out of it, a 2nd round pick. The last thing to go over is our re-signings before we get to... Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to make this its own video. Yeah. Yep, I just realized that. This is like a 50-minute video already. I've been talking. Obviously, it's not going to be a 50-minute video when you guys watch it, but I'm just sort of sitting here and I'm like, yeah, it doesn't really pay to do a whole game yet. So we'll make that a separate video. But the last thing we're going to do today then is we are going to just go over the re-signs and decide who is going to stay and who is not for our team. I am up in the air yet about these 2 guys, Dalvin Tomlinson and Laken Tomlinson. I just, I don't know if I want to re-sign them yet, and if I do, I don't want to do it at what they're asking for. I do know they're going to fall and in overall, I'm assuming. Tomlinson's been, you know, getting away from it for a couple of years now, but eventually he's going to take a regression. And I'd like to wait until after that to offer him a contract. Same with Dalvin Tomlinson. Billy Price, we just signed him. I'm going to wait on that as well. This is the first one where it gets really interesting. Xavier Woods has been an incredible safety for us. Been one of the best big hitters we've had, but he's going to be 30. And I just don't know if I want to commit to him for 3 more years. Granted, the contract is not a bad contract, but it's 3 more years. Yeah, I honestly don't know if I want to bring him back. It's not that I don't like him as a player. It's just 3 more years when we have guys like Bynum and Metellus behind him, and we could bring another guy in during the offseason. That's one of my focuses in the draft, is trying to find a safety. So I think this is going to be the end of the road for Xavier Woods with our team here in this series. Demario Davis as well. I signed him because I wasn't sure what we would get out of AJ Alexander, but he has played rather well for us so far this year. So Davis is sort of, his point is gone now. You know, he's here in case Alexander gets hurt, but I think we'll end up finding somebody younger to replace him and develop behind Alexander instead of paying for a guy who's about to be 36. So Davis is going to be gone after this season as well. I would like to bring Cameron Bynum back. I think he's a very good depth guy, and I like him as a player. So we're going to go ahead and offer him a contract. I'll offer him a little bit more than what he was asking. 2 for 6.5 about. I think that's fair. Yeah. 2 for 6.5. There we go. We can't really do anything with these guys yet, but I'll just go over them quick. Jalen Smith, he's sort of in the same boat as Demario Davis, but he has a better chance of getting signed just because he is only 29. Depends as well on his regression. Elijah Wilkinson, I'm probably not going to be bringing him back. He's been a very good depth guy. We haven't had to rely on him, luckily. But again, we can probably find somebody cheaper. And yeah, so he'll probably be gone. Randy Barrett, not a question about it. I am re-signing him. I think he's a great role player for us. I want to keep our D-line intact the way we have it because I love the guys we have. Same with Connor McGovern. I like some of our backups, and he's one of the reasons that I like our backups. I plan on keeping him. He's a balanced lineman, and he's still only 26. Last but not least is Kellen Mond. We have had some tough times with this guy. I'm not going to be signing him back. I'm just not. I can't rely on him to do anything. You know, every time I put him in games, he just chucks the thing deep. He looks worse than Taylor Hopkins, which, I mean, he should. He should look worse than Taylor Hopkins, but we all know how erratic Hopkins can be sometimes, and this guy's out here, and he's just bombing it almost every play. He's not even running the ball, and he's a scrambler. So for those reasons, he wants a 4-year deal. There's no way I'm giving him a 4-year deal, even at $11 million. I'm just not going to do it. So Kellen Mond's going to be done here with us. We're going to roll with Benji Barnett. There's another guy that I have on the practice squad right now, along with Barnett at quarterback, that will fight it out for quarterback 2 next preseason. So that's it. We got to wait for a couple of these guys to come through so we can re-sign them. Other than that, it looks like we've already re-signed most of the people we plan on to immediately. We still have to wait on the Tomlinson boys here to see what we want to do with them. Okay, so that was everything we have to do for today. I wanted to do a game today, but there was so much to talk about. I really didn't want to make it a whole separate video and then have it be like an hour and some change. So we're just going to do a league update video. And next time we'll get into the next game, which is going to be the Jaguars. I'm going to send past the Tennessee Titans, and we're going to go straight to playing some Trevor Lawrence. So thank you everybody for watching. I will be back shortly in the next couple of days with the Jaguars game. Please consider subscribing if you're not already. Leave me a like and a comment, and I'll see you guys next time.